Hey folks, in this interview, it's all about digital compositing. This is TWIP. Hey, welcome back to another episode of This Week in Photo. I am your host, Frederick Van Johnson. Today on the show, I have the pleasure of speaking with a very talented photographer and digital compositing artist. His name is Mario Olvera. And wait till you see some of his work. It is insane. I got a million questions to ask Mario, and we're gonna dive in just a second. Mario, welcome to the show, man. How are you doing?
Hey, Freddie, how are you? Thanks for having me, man.
I am doing great, man. Your work is ridiculous in a good way. It is
Thanks,
really,
man.
It's crazy. We're gonna show some of it during this interview, but I am, when we do these interviews on This Week in Photo, or when I do these interviews, especially with someone who I just met, like you, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
I want to just gonna get some insight into what got you to the level of skill that you're at now, and what was the driving force. What got you started in photography, and then how did that lead into the compositing world?
Yeah. Well, everything started with Photoshop, actually. I found Photoshop before the photography. When I was like 17 or 18, something like that, I was in the high school, and a friend came to me and he said like, hey, do you want to see something that I did with a program called Photoshop? And I was, yeah, sure. And he showed me, I don't know if you remember those tutorials of Photoshop, like you make like ice effects or fire effects, with the wind filter.
I remember those, and motion and the smudge filter or smudge.
Yes,
tool.
exactly. Yeah. So he showed me that he could do that with Photoshop, and I was like, oh, I was amazed, So I wanted to do that as well. So I started digging it in tutorials and started learning Photoshop by myself. And I never took classes because I think I become like self-taught artist. And I have always been like that. I'm not that patient with receiving knowledge. So I want to receive more and more and more. I'm really addicted to learn something new.
Yeah.
So I started playing with Photoshop and stuff and started mixing it with CGI, with 3D animation. And I crossed the career animation, digital arts, and multimedia. And when I was in the career, we have a class, video editing, and the professor asked us to bring our camera to the class because the photography professor is she was going to teach us a little bit about photography, so we can know how to manage the lenses and that stuff, the basic stuff of photography. So she told us to do some homework with that, and I was amazed as well. I was like, wow, I really can do this with the camera. So I was trying to do a lot of macro shots, inversing the lens in the camera, to make a macro shot. Have you done that?
No, I haven't.
Well, you take the lens from the camera. Let me show you with the camera. Take the lens from the camera like this. You just take it out.
Yeah.
And just inverse the lens like this.
And reverse it on the bottom.
Reverse it. So you, and with that, you hold it like this, and you can have macro shots. You don't have that too much control over the light, because you have to do it manually, the aperture, that stuff. Yeah. But that's what how to learn to do macro shots. So I was really amazed about that, and I like it a lot. And I started experimenting with it, and I started experimenting with photography and Photoshop a lot of Photoshop. If you see my first Photoshop works, actually, I think we could show people my first Photoshop so they can see
the before and after.
Yeah, definitely, man. I was some of them they're good. Some of them they're really horrible.
And what would you say? Looking at Photoshop and looking at Photoshop tutorials on YouTube and all that stuff. There are many different ways to to accomplish a given look or effect or whatever. For people that are watching this that are maybe new to Photoshop or new to compositing or want to get into compositing, what are some of the key techniques that they should be focusing on? Is it masking? Is it color? Or, layers? What would you say? What would you tell a new person?
Well, I think everything is about the foundation. If you have a good foundation, a good understanding about how light works, how it react into different materials, you can reproduce that in Photoshop, because people and I think it's the problem that we all do when we're starting on this. We want to achieve really something really amazing without knowing how to do the basic stuff, like how to, for example, if you want to do compositing well, you try to compose a simple sphere in any ambience, Mm-hmm. Because with that you will understand how the ambient light works, how the direct shadows, exactly, everything, all the foundation of the light. So if you don't understand that, you won't be able to reproduce whatever is in your mind and make it believable or realistic, But because compositing is difficult because of that, because you have to make things look real, even though they are not real, they are surreal. But you have to make them look real, So that's the foundation you have to understand how real light works, how reality works. You have to observe a lot,
Yeah. One of the things that I saw, like looking at the tutorials from, the compositing artists who are just doing this crazy work, is they seem to have a really good understanding of shadows, and how multiple shadows need to be present to connect an object to another. Like if you have someone standing on the ground, there's not just one shadow, there's other shadows, there's a connecting shadow, those sorts of things that people that are doing this work at the level that you're doing it understand. People that are just playing around don't really get that, right?
Yeah,
so it looks like the object is floating and all that. Yeah. So that did you internalize that sort of light play, the shadows and stuff initially in your career, or was it something that came later?
Well, it came like on the fly. Yeah. Because I think the most important thing is to receive feedback from others and learn to be like self-critique with your own work. Because I think that's important. When you think you have learned everything, you stop learning. I think it's a cliche, but everyone knows that, everyone that we have passed that wall, like I know everything, blah, blah. No, bro, you don't know anything. So
we're all just practicing, right?
Dude, yeah, I like to call myself a student already, because I love to learn new things. And when you open yourself to learn new things, a lot of worlds open in front of you, and you start seeing everyone as a teacher, as a master. So even though, for example, when I do workshops, when I do online workshops, etc., I learn a lot about the questions of the students, because it's another perspective from the problem, You have your own perspective, you have your own way to see life. But if you see things differently, that's when creativity comes. So seeing things differently will lead you to, I don't know, another more ways of creation.
Well, speaking of seeing things differently, I'm scrolling through your BEHANCE page right now, and I would encourage people. I'll put a link to this in the YouTube comment or the description and on the blog post. But it's behance.net/MOLVERA3. So that's this page right here that we're looking at. There, speaking of just sort of concepts. The work that I'm looking at is across all kinds of different subject matter, right? We've got food, we've got superheroes, we've got product photography in here, we've got fantasy. It goes on, and it's all exceptional. How do you play so well over so many different kinds of subjects?
Well, I think I'm very perfectionist, you know. I always, as I
Clearly,
told
I'm looking. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if a pixel is not in the way, I have to put it.
Yeah. Look at
Uh,
that. That is just crazy. Look at these. These are beautiful.
oh man, that's one of my favorite images.
I
It,
love this. Yeah, and we're gonna dive into some of these, but yeah, like what?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, give me your thoughts. Like, how, like when you're coming up with an image, like let's say this image. Let's just dive into this one. So when you're coming up with an image like this, is this, you know, assuming it's not client work and the client is being prescriptive about what they want, if it's just if it's a self, you know, if it's a self project for you to learn and, you know, experiment with new techniques, how do you come up with the concept? Like, is it to just pop into your head, or do you see something in a movie and you want to try to execute it? How do you get there?
Well, that's a really good question because I am like the opposite of a lot of artists. You know, a lot of artists just start with a sketch, you know, sketching their ideas, that stuff. And I'm more chaotic than that because I'm in Photoshop. I open an image, I start retouching the image. And then, for example, with this image, before it having the shark and the ocean inside the balloon and that stuff, it was just like a presentation card for my friends. So it was just a picture with the balloon, right? Mm-hmm. So I was one night just playing in Photoshop, you know, watching a lot of tutorials and that stuff, and I remember that I downloaded. I bought that. I think it was. Do you know Raw Exchange? The guys from Raw Exchange.
Yeah. Yeah.
I downloaded a package of Splash, Water Splash. I think it was from them, and I started experimenting with the package of images, and I thought maybe it will be like some water inside here, you know. And first of all, I just made the ocean, and then I was like, I need a creature inside there.
You need something in there.
Yeah, I think I need a subject, you know, something more for the story. So I added a shark. Actually, this is not the shark that I added, but I want to tell you the story after this.
Yeah.
And well, I just started playing around, just trying to make things like in the same ambience, you know, like making the shadows, creating the caustics. If any of you guys know what a caustics is the effect of the refraction of the light through something that can be refracted. You know, for example, here the refraction of the light, it's creating those light effect in the ground. So that's called caustics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was trying to make it that believable. And for example, if you see the caustic is going actually as well outside of the hand, like it was the light refracting from the balloon into the hand.
See, so and those are the details, right? Because
yes,
you know, people may not know what caustics are, or you know, even how they're created, but your brain wants to see them, right? In order to make it feel realistic. Like even until you said that, I wasn't even noticing that those were there, but I knew that my brain knew that they should be there, but I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, that kind of details, that's the ones that really matter, you know? For example, you have to think like logically, like, okay, the guy is blowing air inside the balloon, right? So you have to put some bubbles of air going out from the mouth. So I put those bubbles there. And actually, if you have to think like, okay, there's something moving inside the balloon. How it would look the water moving inside the balloon. So I put the splashes, you know, like.
Yeah, like it's moving in there. It's moving inside of a rubber balloon.
Really dynamic shot. So it helps a lot to tell the story better for you, you know.
That is really fantastic. So of these images, what would you say is your favorite?
Oh man, that's really. Actually, I know which one. You can go up.
Go up?
Yeah, I'll go up.
Okay. Moving up.
The one more. The one in the right.
This one, the running one, Impulse?
No, the one down there.
Oh, this one.
The one with the sword. Yes.
Okay.
So, I think that one is my favorite because I used thousands of adjustment layers to create that color grading that I wanted. The grading that I wanted.
And this is playing audio. Is this playing audio?
Yes, definitely.
How do you do that? I didn't even know you could do that with Behance.
Yeah. If you go into the to the bottom, you will see the song, and if you want it, you can pause it if you want.
Okay, let me scroll down here.
Yeah. So you can listen better.
Oh, I see it. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so SoundCloud. Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know you could do that. That's really cool.
You take an embed code of SoundCloud, and you can tell it if you wanted to autoplay it.
Oh, that is cool.
That's really amazing, man. Yeah,
that is amazing that you could do that. Cool.
I know, man. It's really cool because it helps you to tell a different story. The music, I think, the sound, the audio, it's so powerful, man.
And even if you just wanted to narrate it, right? And just
definitely.
That is really. I didn't know you could do that on Behance.
Yeah.
Wow. Man. Okay, so tell me. Let's go back up to the image. So, why is this your favorite image? The final one.
Well, actually,
I'm gonna say this is it right here, right?
I think it involves a lot of experimenting with Photoshop because that picture of that girl, her name is Sofia, and we did the shooting, without knowing what I was going to do with the pictures, I didn't even did the shooting thinking about this composite right now. So I just made the shot with the lighting and that stuff. And after all, I was one day playing in my house. I was editing the pictures, and I found this one I like it. And that day I remember that I bought a stock package from photobash.org. Do you know Photobash?
No, tell me.
Photobash.org. It's another stock website. They have really good stock. It's relatively cheap, and it's pretty cool quality, So I remember that I downloaded kind of medieval stuff, from a museum, swords, the armor and that stuff, and the keys as well. So I start playing with that. Also, the background, it's made from another package of that site as well.
Oh, wow.
And I start playing around with it. I remember I really loved this because I wanted to make the wounds believable, like what could happen if she was on a fight. Maybe she's really she had the hair really good done, but there are details,
Yeah, that is fantastic. You get these kind of images, you just get lost in them, right? Especially these fantasy type images. I had no idea. So the sword in the shot, the key, and the armor, those are all composited in, correct? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 3 of them. And the interesting thing is to make the light of the scene match every element,
Yeah, like the light from the fire in her pupils and on the lids of her eyes and the bottom of her nose, her lips, and on the sword and
the reflection in the sword.
How long does a shot like this take you to create? I mean, obviously, like you said, you were just you were building it as you went. But how long do you think it took from just the idea to where you felt like it was ready to upload to Behance?
I think 3 days or so.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 days because I was sending the picture to my friends and receiving feedback.
This is
so
fantastic.
It helped a lot. Yeah.
That is great. So I want to look at some other ones here. These are all of these shots are just, obviously, they should be good because you're a highly sought after professional. But I want to talk about that a little bit. The if we look at a shot like, let's say this guy with the Mecha T-Rex in here. Fantastic. So take me through this shot because this looks 100% real. right? But I know it's not, because this can't happen in reality. So,
Yeah, exactly.
so how did you bring this to life?
Well, that was made for a challenge of in high school. In high school, it's a platform in Brazil that they do they teach a lot of compositing, photography, CGI, illustration, that stuff. So I think they monthly do a challenge, and this time was a challenge about something related to dinosaurs. So, for example, we had to use their stock images and whatever we want to do with them. So the stock images that they provide us was the bones, the T-Rex bones that are in the ground. Those are the stock images. And I remember I found this T-Rex in Shutterstock. It is a CGI T-Rex, of course.
Yeah.
It won't be real, right? So I found it, and I didn't have an account on Shutterstock, so I have to ask a friend for it, and he borrowed me that image. So I started just doing that, and I was like, what could I do with this T-Rex? So I just put first the T-Rex there, and it was good. I really like it. But I was like, I could do something really better with this, make it something more surreal. And I remember that I have got, I downloaded as well another package from Photobash. It was all about war vehicles and that stuff. So the rifles, the plasma rifles, or I don't know, that are in the back of the T-Rex are from those packages as well. So I just start playing around and see, okay, this could fit there, because I always do that. I try a lot of things. If they fit, I leave them. If no, I try another things, So that start like building the story. So every element that I introduce start telling another story. So
in the background, where did the background come from?
The background, it's different pictures. Actually, if you go down there, you can see a video.
Oh, look at this. Wow.
Those are the details.
Wow. Look at that. This is fantastic. Okay, so people have to watch this. They will definitely have to watch this. I'm going to play this.
Yeah, definitely, man. I really love it.
So while this is playing, I want to just pick your brain. So while you're building a composite like this, or any of the other ones, like if you're shooting the pieces of the composite yourself, where do you get do you shoot them with your camera? Do you go out and as you travel the world, are you shooting pictures that may someday be used in a composite?
Yeah, so I have a lot of pictures that may someday be using, but I stick what I have, If I find something in the internet that I can use, I use it. If not, I remember that I have a lot of stock pictures that I have took in my travels, my journeys, So I like combine everything. For example, if I have a really concrete concept in my mind that I can't find anywhere, I will try to do it by myself, because I think there's more credit if you do your own pictures, always, of course. I really don't like a lot to work with Shutterstock or that stuff, with stock pictures. But as I have talked with a friend, Dustin Balkima, and if there's already done that, if someone has already done that, well, you have to do it again. If it is already done really good. So if you can do, for example, if someone did this render of CGI render of the T-Rex, why you should do it from the scratch, Maybe if I wanted to do another pose, another lighting, another kind of T-Rex, well, I could use another one, But if this just works for me for experimenting and having fun, it's good.
Yeah,
but
that is great. That's great. And then what? So obviously, right now you're in Photoshop, but
yeah.
Is Photoshop the main app that you use for everything, or do you use any other apps?
No, definitely Photoshop, man.
Just Photoshop. Yeah, do it all in Photoshop. Yeah, that is crazy. Good work, man. That is just incredible. That is
Thanks,
incredible.
man.
So so when you look at the ideas of or the driving force for a lot of your work, right? Some of it's like you said, contests. Some of it is self assignment. How does the client work stuff come in?
How's that again?
Like if you're doing client work, like if like what happens? Like a studio contacts you and they say, okay, we need something that looks like this, A, B, and C. Take me through that process. If someone wants you to do a job for them, like say someone's watching this and they're like, okay, we need Mario to do this. How does that whole process work?
Well, first of all, we always ask for a brief. If the client knows really good the idea that he wants or she wants from the beginning, it's going to be easier for me to, for example, even though if the client doesn't have a sketch or a brief or something, I think a very well, I don't know, a good idea, a good related idea, a good written idea could help a lot. But if reference images helps a lot because you know how to where to aim. Sometimes you don't have that creative freedom to do whatever you want. Yep. Because I have been there, like, okay, you didn't tell me you wanted this, but I would did another thing very different. So the client was right. Communication, man, it's everything. So if the client has a really solid brief, it's gonna be really solid work. It's gonna be a really fast work, and it's gonna be better for both of us.
Because then you just give them what they ask for. If they ask for the wrong thing, you can't.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, what about this image? Tell me the story of this one, because this one's fantastic.
That is I think the most recent that I've done. That picture was done for a guy in Facebook. His name is Kim. He's a really good music composer, and he asked me for a album cover. He actually, if you scroll, you will see the sketch, and he made that sketch. So that helped a lot.
Let's find that sketch. Where is it? Oh, okay.
There's a sketch. Okay, that's what the sketch of him. And he showed me some references on other CD covers, that he wanted to aim for. And I was like, okay, I know why you want something. I know you want some mountains in the background. You want the lake. And he wanted the hand to be a rising, because the album is called Arise. Yeah. So he wanted to have the hand arising from the lake. So I was looking around in Google and Shutterstock, Adobe Stock for some hands pictures, and I didn't like even though the form of the hand or the light of the arm, the hand, or the pose of the hand, So I was like, I'm gonna take a picture of my hand. So
this is your hand in here?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
So in that way, I could have, for example, the light that I wanted. I have more control of it, and actually, the client didn't ask for the plants and that stuff, the rocks and that stuff. It was like for myself, but he really liked it.
That is great. So the client was happy at the end.
Yeah, man. He didn't ask for any change, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So, as we wrap up, I want to get some ideas on, if people that are watching this and listening to this, they want to get into compositing and they want to be self-taught, maybe they have some talent now, or, they just want to get talent. How, if that's possible, what resources do you use? Is it mainly YouTube, or are you subscribed to any like online services that teach compositing? What's the path that they should move in?
Well, I think what helps a lot, it's that I have a past with CGI, with 3D animation. It helps a lot because when you are in 3D animation, you start understanding very well the light, because light. Actually, you were talking about the shadows in the before, and when I create shadows, I don't think about creating shadows. I just think about removing light. Blocking light.
Removing light, is that
Removing light, blocking light, because actually that's it. That's a shadow. You are blocking the path of the light.
Right.
So that's the shadow. What people try to do always is to create a shadow, to create a layer on the top of it, blah blah blah. So you have to think, okay, if you are gonna put something here, how much light it's gonna block from the direct lighting or the ambient lighting, So if you start thinking about that way, you will start seeing things very different. So that helps a lot. That's about the foundation that I was talking about, observing the real world, how light really works. Shadows doesn't exist. It's just the absence of light. Mm-hmm. So if you start thinking about it, it makes sense, and it's like, yeah, it's true, man. I'm trying to create shadows instead of removing light. So if you start thinking and seeing your composite like, okay, I have the source of light. I have the source of light. How this source light will affect my elements? No, how much light will be blocked with this element? So when I always do composites, I start with ambient lighting. I just, for example, if the ambient lighting is blue like the sky, I just try to make something soft, with curves adjustment layer, or maybe a solid layer on top of it with multiply, and start playing around with opacity. Yeah. And that helps me to create like the mood of the ambience lighting. I start matching the ambience lighting with my background. And after that, I start thinking, where is the source light of the key light, of the direct lighting?
Yeah.
So
and understanding where the light's coming from. My brain is like thinking about what you just said. There is no such thing as shadows, only the absence of light.
Yes.
Absence of light. Yeah, which is awesome.
Man, I always teach this in my workshops, and people's like, yeah, we should think about it, because it's different. It's different way to see things. It's what I was talking about, the different perspective, of things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about, one question that I get a lot is, or what I like to ask a lot when I have people on, are hardware questions. Like, to do the caliber of work that you're doing right now, you must have a giant supercomputer and, all this stuff. What do you use on a daily basis to get your work done? Is it a MacBook Pro? Is it an iMac? Is it a Windows machine? You have a graphics tablet? Like, what's your toolkit?
Well, it's a Frankenstein because it is a self-built computer. It's a PC as well. It's Windows. Yeah. And Windows is actually cheaper than Mac. It's not fancy, but you can have more with less price. So
no one cares at the end of the day, right?
No, man, no, for real, no. It's people buy fancy things because they look fancy. So exactly. That's why, man. But if you start thinking logically, for example, with programming, I don't know. We didn't talk about it, but I'm actually now in programming.
I saw that on your Behance profile that you had programming on there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 years now, but let me tell you about the computer. Well, it's a self-made computer. It's like a Frankenstein. I bought, for example, first the motherboard, then the GPU, So I always try to see reviews on the internet, what is better for this, blah, blah, blah. So I always try to see, for example, as well, what makes Photoshop slow, what makes Photoshop fast. Is it the RAM? Is it the GPU? Is it the processor? So I try to understand that kind of things. And with that knowledge, I can decide better what I have to buy, and I'm not spending more money than I should,
and getting less.
Exactly, man. So absolutely. If you understand something, if you really understand something, the foundation of something, you can rule everything. So if you understand the foundation of compositing, it's just about experimentation and practice, and you will get whatever you want. There's the really talented guy. His name is Benny. He has a YouTube channel, Benny Productions, I think. He's really good about he does because he's really young, and I admire him because of that. And he works really hard on editing his videos and that stuff. So kudos for that. So there's a lot of young people doing really cool stuff because they practice all day long, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I use Photoshop all day long, man. It's like, oh man. For example, there's people that take my course online, and they say like, when I can do something like you, if you practice what I show you, you can do it faster than I did because I spent a lot of time figuring out this, watching thousands of tutorials, and getting that information in just one place, this course that I have in you. So if you take this information, practice and experiment it, and most important, understand it, you will get faster there, and actually you go further.
Yeah, it's like like you said before, like understanding light and how light behaves in shadow and reflections and all that stuff. And
totally,
it's like little tools that all add up to allow you to do things. Like it's crazy. Are you using like for your work? Are you using tablets? The Wacom Tablet. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Actually, if you want to see it.
Yeah.
I have here this is a Cintiq.
Oh, we got the Cintiq. Oh, that's not fair, man. That's not.
It's a tiny one, but I think it's really good. I used to have a Wacom Intros. But I splashed some water on it.
Oh, and it died.
So
with the Cintiq though, so that's the one that has a display built into it, and you're actually retouching on screen there. So do you use a big monitor as well with that, or do you do all your work on the Cintiq itself?
Actually, do you want to see the workspace?
Yeah, let's see it.
Let me show you. Yeah. Okay, this is the workspace.
Okay, so I see. Oh, 2 displays. Yeah.
Displays, one for the coding and one
writing
for
code.
So this is a computer.
Oh wow, that's a beast.
Yeah. Look.
What the heck is going on over there? Jeez. Okay.
So yeah, it's really helpful to have 2 monitors because you can have, for example, you can have the tutorial in one monitor. Mm-hmm. You can have Photoshop open in another monitor. So that helps a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that is clean. Okay, cool. And then you have the display, the Cintiq has a display on it as well.
Yeah. And,
right.
I have cloned the one monitor, my principal monitor. I have cloned it in the Cintiq. So I can see both because the color, for example, of the Cintiq is not the same color from the monitor, you know? The monitor's made for photography and video editing, is special for that. And the Cintiq is not calibrated for that, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that is great. Well, Mario, thank you for coming on, man. This is I feel like we could probably talk for about 3 hours.
Yeah, definitely, man.
There's so much to talk about. Yeah, compositing, and we even talk about programming and motion effects and 3D, all of that stuff. So you have to come back on again if you have
definitely.
Time.
If you want, I said until we grow up.
Say that again.
Until we grow up. Until we finish this. It will be awesome to show you what I've been working 2 years from now.
Yes. Okay.
2 years, yeah. So remember that I told you that I'm a programmer as well, yeah, right?
Yeah.
So I've been working on a project called Composite Nation.
Nation. Okay.
Composite Nation, yeah. It's meant to be a community of compositing artists.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. It first started like I want to do line courses and that stuff, but suddenly I get like in programming plugins. And I was like, wow, I really like it. I was very curious about learning how to program a Photoshop plugin. So now I already made one Photoshop plugin. It's called Onitic.
Where
And
is it? Is it done?
No, the release is gonna be this Wednesday.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Can
man.
you send me some information about it, and I'll put that in this post so people can.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely.
What does the plugin do?
Do you want to see a demo?
Yeah, can you? Can you? Yeah, absolutely. You kidding me?
Yeah, let me share the screen. You're sharing your screen.
I see you right now. Hold on, let me pause this real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so let me show you quickly. Okay. Downloads, compositing. Okay. These are all the people that is like collaborating with the project, like for the launch. If they are working, I don't know, maybe they give me some of the images, and I'm gonna show you the people. I'm gonna show the people how the plugin works with it. And actually, I gave these people, really, they are amazing artists. I gave these people a free lifetime license for the product, so because they have helped me like in the beta testing and that stuff. So let me show you how it works. So this is a plugin. You can see. Okay. This is a plugin. What basically it does, it searches, it uses the light from your picture. For example, let me turn on off this. Which one? This one. Okay. What it does, it takes already the light from your picture and creates more light of it. So, for example, if I go generate, you can see now it is creating light based on the luminance from your picture. So if I, for example, turn on this X-ray, you can see the threshold. You know, if I turn down the threshold, it's less light. If I, for example, okay. So for example, let's say you wanted to just produce a bloom effect from the sort, where you could use it. Just go to mask. Click on mask, and actually automatically it's gonna select the brush. So you can paint whatever you want to the plugin to take the light from, you know. So you go update mask, and it's just gonna take the light from that source. So let's say, for example, you wanna create some bluish tone. You just go to colorize, and then you just change it to something bluish like this.
Wow. Oh, that's killer. And you, Mario, you wrote this plugin?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, I spent 2 years writing this plugin and writing all the platform on the internet and that stuff. Mm-hmm. So if you see, for example, let me show you right now the platform. Okay. Okay, so log in. Let me log in. Let's go plugins. So this is a platform. There's going to be more plugins, of course. I have planned a lot of plugins here.
Oh, that's so cool.
So if you go here, you can see all the features of Oniric. I have tutorials, the community installation and activation guide, you know. For example, you can see before and after what the plugin does, you know.
Oh, you have to send me the link to this. Is this public yet?
No, it's going to be public for Wednesday.
On Wednesday, it'll be public. Yeah. Okay.
When are you going to?
I got to play with this. We have to play.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm going to get you
look at that. Yes, please.
Look, and so you can create last 12 flares like this. And for example, you can have multiple. It is actually the best thing about this plugin is that it's non-destructive. If you go, for example, here and I go apply, the other plugins what they does is that they apply the effect inside on the top of your picture, right? Mm-hmm. So if you see, you have separated.
Oh, it just gives it as a layer. Oh, good grief! That's cool.
It's another layer. So you could use, for example, these layers whatever you want. If you wanted, for example, I don't know, filter, distort, polar coordinate, something like that, you could do something really different. I don't know.
I need that. Plugin, Mario.
Well, man, I really wanted the people create something cool with this, you know. So you can have a lot of really different orneric elements. And the best of all is, for example, let's say, it's not a bluish. I wanted more cyan on that. So you could do something like, for example, you create a hue adjustment layer like this, no?
Mm.
But the thing is that if you edit the glow with the algorithm of Oniric, it's gonna blend a gradient more natural than if you just go like hue. For example, if you do like this, look the color of orange and green.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to edit element, it's gonna search from all your layers, and it's gonna say, oh, I found 4 Oniric elements. Which one you want to edit? So you choose the one you want to edit, go to edit mode, and actually all the settings, they are already loaded.
And already loaded.
Yeah,
Wow.
So you can change it whenever you want it. For example, maybe orange, something like that. So you can see the transition of the gradient is different than just changing the hue
Yeah.
from red to yellow.
And those are those details you were talking about. With light and shadow.
I work a lot on that algorithm. So
Wow. So an artist who is also a programmer. That's a double threat, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. And
That's very cool. That is very cool. So Wednesday, that's going to be available to the world?
Wednesday is going to be available for the world, yeah.
Okay. So I won't publish this until Wednesday. So
yeah, it's good. Perfect.
Yeah. So send me the link, send me everything you have, and I'll make sure people know about it.
Sure,
man.
man.
Congratulations, man. That is awesome.
Thanks,
That is
man. Thank
killer.
you.
Yeah, send me everything. I want to make sure all that's in the blog post for this
Sure,
episode,
man. Sure.
and also put examples of your work. Send me some examples of the plugin in action too, like before and afters. And I'll make sure those are
definitely, yeah.
okay. Cool. Well, Mario, man, you're on fire over there. I like that last image you were showing. So, if people want to contact you, if they want to take your workshops or hire you, where should they go? What's the best way to get in contact with you?
I think my Facebook fan page. If you go, I think it's let me remember. I think it's Mario Olvera M.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
and I'll link to that.
I will give you the So
Okay.
Through the fan page or through Instagram, I think is better. You know, or through BEHANCE as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that order: Facebook, Instagram, or Behance.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I think Facebook inboxes, they are fan page inboxes. They are more professional than Instagram inboxes, So
Yeah. No, for sure.
and if we make contact on it, I will give my email to them,
Perfect. Yeah. So you have a way of filtering.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
yeah.
you're not. People just don't have your email address. For
Exactly.
No reason.
Spamming.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Trust me, I know about that. All right, Mario. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on. And congratulations on all your work. Your work is fantastic. You're a sought after artist, and now you're moving into programming and Photoshop plugins. So that's amazing, man. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, man. It's a long road ahead. Yeah.
Well, you're coming on again, so we'll have to touch base again and do another episode that's specifically about the software and stuff that you're working on.
Definitely, man. It will be a pleasure.
All right, Mario Olvera, thank you so much, man. I'll talk to you soon.
This is Twitter.